Hello and welcome to the Versatile Artist. Thank you for coming back for another video on creativity and mindful living. And if you're new here, welcome. I post weekly videos. If you consider subscribing to my channel, that would be great. It will help that you don't miss any videos, and it will also help others to see my videos. Being creative is in our human nature. It is what helps us to go through difficult situations. It helps to solve the unsolvable, and it also wants to be expressed. Obviously, it wants to run wild. It wants you to create what only you can create. When it comes to creativity, there is no right or wrong, as long as you don't hurt anyone or destroy anything. When it comes to what others will see as being good or not good, only comes down to their very own individual taste. This leads to the question, who is this piece of art made for? I mean, there is not this one glove that fits all, obviously, also not in art, especially not in art or in the creative field. That would contradict the endless abundance of possibilities of what art could be and how it individually speaks to us. In the past, I've heard some very limiting opinions about what is allowed to be named art or who is entitled to call themselves an artist. In all cases, this came from people who would gravitate towards expressing themselves somehow, but haven't found the courage yet to do so. And yes, it takes a hell of a lot of courage to really trust this instinct inside of you and let the creativity guide you to go with that flow. It takes heaps of courage to share what has come from opening yourself up. It makes you vulnerable, and that in itself takes a lot of courage. Creativity takes courage. This is such a beautiful quote from Henri Matisse, the French artist. It really summarizes so well why it can take many years until we follow that nagging voice that wants us to just pick up, for example, the brush and the paint and put something on a canvas. There's also this other thing in our mind that can be rather hindering. Our mind seems to be programmed to give more value to one negative comment than 10 positive ones. We can be really affected by this one critique who didn't like what we have created, while so many others enjoyed it and were moved by it. But from an objective standpoint, is this really justified? Are all people who like the work wrong? Is their opinion less worth than the ones who doesn't like it? Even though this is easier said than done, when you catch yourself giving that one negative comment too much thought, it is important to take a few steps back and to change to a more neutral perspective. It helps to write down or print out the positive comments and stick them somewhere where you can see them. Or you can write down all the names of those who have told or shown you that they like your work. Whenever you feel down after receiving a comment or feedback that could put you down, think, can they really all be wrong? It is really about the context. Coming back to Matisse's quote, creativity takes courage. It does, and it's important that you learn to listen inside of yourself. Listen to what wants to be expressed. The blank page, canvas, or whatever your creative playground is the scariest part. We don't want to spoil it with something that isn't worth it. That is a too understandable notion, but not a very helpful one. You can always paint over something you don't like. You can edit a text that doesn't do the idea behind it justice yet. In fact, creating art is a layering job. You layer one thin coating of paint over the next to create an effect. You unpeel a character from rough to fine until you really understand their journey in the story you're writing. It isn't even so much about the end result. The creative process in itself is the journey you are going through, and this is the most important part. What you're learning through it. this can go deeper than we sometimes feel ready for. And that's another reason why creativity takes courage. It can help to give yourself time, but doing a tiny bit for it every day will help to keep working on it, to see where it leads you, to not let the fear take over. You might only have 15 minutes per day you can spare for it, but at least you stay committed. Creativity takes courage, but it costs you so much more when you deny it. With that said, stay healthy, stay safe, and stay creative. Bye-bye.